Flags hang from brick buildings and government offices. Children run through dusty streets, while adults discuss rumors of tensions with the Soviet Union. The world has been living in the shadow of the Cold War, an uneasy rivalry between the United States and the Soviet Union. High above the Caribbean, a reconnaissance aircraft glides silently over the island of Cuba. The pilot of a Lockheed U-2 photographs long rows of equipment hidden among palm trees and construction crews building launch platforms. The photographs will soon reveal a terrifying truth. Days later, intelligence analysts in Washington examine the images. Long missile tubes, fueling trucks, and launch pads become clear. They report their findings to John F. Kennedy, President of the United States. The Soviet Union has secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, only 90 miles from American shores. Inside the White House, Kennedy gathers his closest advisors. The group debates options for hours. Some urge immediate airstrikes, others argue for diplomacy. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Khrushchev, leader of the Soviet Union, believes the missiles will strengthen his country's position against the United States. Neither side wants war. Both sides prepare for it. In Havana, Fidel Castro watches events unfold nervously. After the failed American-backed invasion, known as the Bay of Pigs invasion, Castro fears another attempt to overthrow his government. To him, Soviet missiles represent protection. But protection for one nation may mean catastrophe for the entire world. On October 22, 1962, President Kennedy appears on television. His voice is calm but grave. He informs the American people that Soviet nuclear missiles have been discovered in Cuba and announces a naval quarantine around the island. American warships begin moving toward the Caribbean. News spreads rapidly across the globe. In cities across Europe and America, people gather in cafes. American ships form a defensive ring in the Atlantic Ocean. Soviet cargo vessels approach the line. For several tense hours, the world waits. Then, one by one, the Soviet ships slow down and turn away. The crisis has not ended, but catastrophe has been delayed. Khrushchev sends a long, emotional letter to Kennedy. He proposes a solution. The Soviet Union will remove the missiles from Cuba if the United States promises not to invade the island. A second message arrives from Moscow with a new demand. The Soviet leader now asks the United States to remove its nuclear missiles stationed in Turkey. Publicly, Kennedy refuses. Tensions reach their peak. An American Lockheed U-2 reconnaissance plane is shot down over Cuba. Military commanders prepare for possible invasion. Strategic bombers take to the skies, armed with nuclear weapons. For 13 days, the world stands closer to nuclear war than at any other time in history. Finally, a compromise emerges. The Soviet Union will dismantle its missiles in Cuba. The deal is fragile, but it is enough. On October 28th, Khrushchev announces that the missiles will be withdrawn. American surveillance planes confirm the dismantling of launch sites. Across the world, relief spreads like a quiet wave. The crisis is over. The near disaster shocks both superpowers. Ordinary life returns. In cities and towns, people slowly return to their routines. Children run through the streets again. Yet those who lived through the crisis never forget the 13 days when humanity stood at the edge of nuclear war and stepped back.